Me, 24 female, with my dead boyfriend's mother, 50 female. She wants his dog. Sorry, this is longer than I wanted, but I'm still processing this as it happened last night. To get you up to speed, my boyfriend was killed in a car accident last month. This post is not about that. I'm going to grief counseling and coping as well as I think I can at the moment. We were together for 3 years. We started living together a little over a year ago. Prior to meeting my boyfriend, he got a ridiculously cute puppy. At the time, he was still living at home as his parents lived close to our university. However, this puppy was his puppy. She slept in his room, he took care of her, and he trained her. However, his mom loves dog and doted on her like a grandmother. Boyfriend and I met in a local park because he had a puppy and I had an old grouchy dog of a similar breed. Adorable, right? We quickly started spending a good chunk of the time with each other. I'd say we spent a good 60% of the week together. And by together, I mean me, boyfriend, my grouchy dog, and his young pup. Dog spent a lot of time at my place, and I helped with training, general care, and dog activities. After we moved in with each other, I took on a lot more of dog responsibilities. Boyfriend ended up getting a job with a long commute and a lot of overtime. I was okay with this as I ended up putting my old dog down a couple months ago, and I enjoyed having a dog to take care of again. I even started therapy dog training with her because she has such an awesome temperament. All in all, we were a happy, loving family, and Dog and I were great friends. After his death, his family came over to help sort through all of his things. His family took the majority of his material things, cars, computer, etc., which I was okay with. I kept the sentimental things and joint purchases. I thought that was that. During the whole time, Dog has been my constant companion. I feel like we have been helping each other a lot through this time of loneliness and sadness. Last night, his mom popped by after work for a surprise visit. I thought she was just checking in with me or looking for support. After a few minutes of chit-chat, she simply said, "Well, now that it seems like everything is settled, I've come to take Dog home." I was confused and asked her what she meant. She explained that since Dog belonged to boyfriend, it makes sense that Dog be returned to his family. At this point, I became visibly upset, and Mom backed off. She said I can say my goodbyes, but she will be by this weekend to pick up Dog. I am terrified, guys. I don't want to lose Dog. She is oh my God, it's gonna make me cry. She is a wonderful pet, but she is wonderful because boyfriend spent so much time loving her, training her, and spending time with her. I recognize his mom is also in pain. I recognize that his mom always has loved this dog. I recognize his mom has also lived with and spent a lot of time with this dog. I understand why she wants the dog, but I don't want her to have my dog. Legally, I realize I don't have much of a leg to stand on. Boyfriend and I weren't married. We'd only been living together for a year, and there is no will. And technically, Dog was my boyfriend's property, and property is transferred to the deceased family, right? If his family chose to take this to court, they'd have the resources to fight this. I don't. Is there anything I can do? Appeal to mom's goodwill? Lay on the emotions thick and hope she relents out of pity? I'm open to any ideas right now. Dog is my best friend now that my boyfriend is gone. I don't know if I can handle her being taken away from me too right now. Afternote, I just want to say his mom is not a bad person. She has always been polite, sweet, caring. His whole family is a bit rigid and can be stubborn, but overall, I don't think they are malicious. I recognize she wants the dog. It's the same reasons why I want the dog, which I guess makes this even more difficult. Whew.
Wow.
That's such a tough situation because obviously when it comes to, legally, like in any situation, like family always has first pick on their, family members' belongings, stuff, anything. Family always has first pick. But it really depends on who the family is and how they treat her and how that relationship goes because, if I was in the position where, God forbid, but if I had, if it was my son and, there was a girlfriend and she was the one taking care of the dog and I have my family and there's this one dog that obviously I love and care for and the family does. But if it's that's the one thing that she really shared with him and, had, and I personally would let her keep the dog just because I would take a step back and be like, I have my entire family. We can all support each other. We have everything else of his. She kept the sentimental things. Obviously, the mom's not going to take things that were between like their relationship. But I just hope that she could maybe just ask the mom, like, hey, could we have a conversation about this? I know that you guys have every right to take anything of his, but this is how I feel. I feel lonely. This is the one thing that's kind of getting me through this. And obviously they have each other and she can respect whatever decision the mom makes, but definitely give it a shot in the most respectful way possible and acknowledge that you're aware of all of the legal things. But I just hope, the mom can maybe see that she has a huge supporting family and this girlfriend just wants the dog, like a living piece of him that they shared. It's really tough. It's really tough when it comes to that because the family has a right to the dog and so does the girlfriend.
Both are entitled.
It really just depends on how she approaches the situation with the family, specifically the mom, and I guess just how the mom wants to go about it. That's just a really hard situation.
Yeah, this would absolutely crush me. I put my dog down last week and I can't imagine this situation. Like you lost your person, 3 years, like living together a year. And then the next thing you know, your dog, because it's her dog too at this point. They've been together. She met the dog when it was still a puppy and helped train it. And so, it's the boyfriend's dog, but it's also her dog too.
Right.
And so to just like go through this traumatic loss and then have the dog kind of ripped out from her too. It's like, like you just wish the mom, which the mom is grieving too, like that's her baby. Absolutely. So it's just like, there's a no-win situation here. But it's just really unfortunate the mom couldn't have approached it and been like, what are your thoughts about sharing the dog? What if we split custody of the dog?
That was my thought.
Yeah, like the dog probably loves them both, like grew up with them both. And so, I mean, we share custody with our other little terror dog here. Like she goes back and forth between my dad, our house, and his ex-girlfriend who like is very attached to her. And it works. Like it's a really comfortable situation. The dog doesn't seem to mind going back and forth.
Yeah.
It works.
Totally.
So
I think that is the most logical thing. Because you're going to have a heart-to-heart. You're already connected in the fact that you both lost this person.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure, yes, you're his mom. But yes, I'm also his girlfriend who, it sounds like they lived together. This sounds like this was really serious. So I'm not comparing the level of loss.
Right.
I'm just saying the dog is now important to both of you and can be a tool to help grieve and, I don't think recover is the right answer, but just to help have that support system there. You both can utilize.
For sure.
And you're not utilizing the dog, but the dog is such a big help for that, for both parties. And I think in the same way. So if you have a heart to heart, then it starts to just feel a little weird if the mom's like, nope, mine 100% forever, and doesn't have any compassion to say, that's reasonable. Because in my mind, though obviously I'm not in this situation, it is reasonable to say we could both benefit.
Right.
And have the care for each other to allow each other to benefit from this.
Yeah.
Just communicating and just being honest. And I love the idea of sharing the dog. That's like the absolute best way to go about it. If, the mom really doesn't want the dog to only be hers because of the attachment and pain of her son. Absolutely. It's understandable. But I just hope that, she would be able to see in her heart, like, okay, like this was her dog too. Like they had this relationship. This could have been the love of her son's life, It's challenging, but I really hope that are there any updates?
There is an update.
Okay, I'm so glad to hear that. I would
We
like
need
to
it.
hear that. Yes.
You know what makes me sad about stuff like this too is granted, like they weren't even engaged, but I've heard like other stories about people like we had been together 6 years and he died and I lost everything. It's like just like a piece of paper, but yet like it was clear that like this was his person.
Right.
And so it sucks that like if they would have been married, there would have been no question like she would have kept the dog.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
think like there's just like little things like that, or like you hear about people ending up in the hospital and because they're not married, they can't see their partner. And their family who doesn't really know them is still making all their medical decisions. It's like, just makes you want to just...
I just think with this situation, legal stuff, yes. If you're married, then yes, you'd have the rights to the dog. But I think it goes beyond that, just to have the compassion for each other and the sympathy that we both lost someone very important to us, and to share the benefit of having that dog. Like,
Yeah.
even if you're married, even if you weren't, there's no will. Like, just be there for each other. You're both
know.
going through
Absolutely.
this. You're both going through it.
Very true.
Absolutely.
So she does do a little update on the bottom of the original post. Thank you all for the kind words and condolences. It's a bit overwhelming. This is a very confusing time for me, and it is reassuring to see that it isn't a black and white situation. Sure, it would help if there was an easy answer, but at least I know my confusion and internal conflict isn't too crazy. It's obviously a complicated matter. I'm still not certain what I'm going to do with dog. There are many good arguments for both sides. Fight to keep dog versus give dog to mom. Trust me, I'm trying to read through all of your replies diligently. Right now, I need to figure out how to balance what is morally right, what I can deal with, and what is best for dog. But for tonight, I think dog and I will just watch a few bad movies and have a bit of popcorn. Update.
Okay, good. I thought that was it. I'm about to be like,
Right?
do we need to write?
Right?
Do we need to like write in right now?
First off, thank you for everyone who replied to my first post. I tried to respond to everyone's stories, advice, and suggestions, but once it got to over 100 comments, it got a bit too overwhelming. So I just want to thank everyone now. I read every comment and every private message, and I appreciated all the discussion that happened. The update summarized. I no longer have dog. Ugh.
That's not the update that I wanted.
No. She went to her new home on Thursday. It took me a couple of days to process the next, oh so awesome, new change in my life. I'm trying to talk myself through it, and I'm trying to feel all noble and shit. I figure an inflated, martyr-like ego is better than being sad, jaded, and bitter bitch face. Okay, I admit it. I'm feeling more bitter than noble right now. The details for those interested. Last Friday, I ended up calling my boyfriend's dad. We always got along pretty fabulously, and he is the one really holding the family together right now. He gave me a good update on the family, and the gist I got was mom was in pretty bad place. We decided to hold a family meeting about dog. On Saturday, mom, dad, boyfriend, sister, and me got together and discussed what dog meant to us. Naturally, mom and I had very similar outlooks, though I emphasized how dog was a part of my family, my adventure buddy, and now my best friend now that boyfriend was gone. Mom said she never realized I was that involved with dog and apologized for surprising me on Thursday. Both mom and I got pretty weepy, and she excused herself to think things over. So I and dad talked for a bit more. I just went over the basics of dog care and border collies in general. His family has always been cat people, so I wanted to make sure that they knew what they were getting themselves into, and also maybe scare them with the responsibility because I am not a saint.
Yeah.
I was also concerned about the well-being of dog and wanted to make sure she can stay happy. I gave him a list of all of the activities I do with her to prevent her from becoming bored and thus neurotic and destructive. It's actually a pretty long list. I also gave him a list of doggy daycares, training centers, agility centers, running paths, hiking places, and vets in his area. I also gave him a copy of her therapy dog certification progress and what the steps are to complete that if they are interested. I then left him a book on border collies and a few website links so he can become familiar with the breed. This is the only thing that has given me a bit of solace right now. Dad laughed after I gave him the rundown. He said it made so much sense why dog was so mellow, and that was because boyfriend and I ran her ragged. He loved seeing all the work that went into dog, was asking a lot of questions, and was astonished boyfriend dedicated that much time and energy into his furry pal. It was actually very heartwarming seeing dad pretty much light up with pride. Boyfriend had a bad habit of downplaying a lot of what he does, so dad was able to learn something new about his son. I told him that I would be ecstatic if I could keep dog, as she is my world now, but I understood if dog had a bigger purpose right now next to mom's side. Okay, that was a big fat lie. I don't understand because I am selfish and believe that dog belongs to me, but I am trying to be fucking noble here, okay? Dad thanked me and we hugged. He told me that he and mom will do some research over the next couple days and think it over. Dad called me on Tuesday. He told me mom was insistent on having dog, no matter what. He didn't sound too happy and was very apologetic. He told me that he didn't know if this was the right decision, and he honestly felt that dog belonged to me, but mom wasn't moving on the subject. He timidly asked what I wanted to do. I pretty much started panicking at this point and was hugging dog pretty hard to try to keep my shit together. But I was able to calmly say, okay, I understand. He hammered out a few details, and all I could say was okay over and over. He kept asking if I was going to be all right, and my only response was, I understand. After we hung up, I just sat on the floor crying as dog crawled in my lap, trying to figure out what was wrong. My panicking got worse, so I took dog on a 10-mile run to calm both of us down. Holy shit, that's far.
Wow.
I took the rest of the week off work, and on Wednesday, I took dog to boyfriend's and mine's favorite camping place. We spent the day hiking and exploring, sort of playing it's the wrong time of year to play in a lake, and the night snuggling under blankets and roasting marshmallows. I might have slipped her a marshmallow or two. She freaking loves them. On Thursday, I gathered up all of dog's things and created a list of how to care for her. They dropped by in the evening. Dad seemed pretty concerned, probably because I was a very smiley robot. Mom was ecstatic and was crying as she hugged and loved on dog. I tried to pretend everything was okay because I didn't want to stress out dog, and mainly because I honestly felt really bad for Dad. He's a really good guy, and I could tell he was very worried about me and his wife. I feel guilty that he was dragged in the middle of all this while also having to deal with his own grief. Dad gave me a hug, told me not to be a stranger and that I could visit anytime. Mom hugged me and thanked me and reassured me that they are going to make dog happy, and then they left with dog. On Friday morning, I woke up and sat in my empty bed for about an hour. The emptiness started freaking me out, so I sort of threw some clothes in a bag and left. Right now, I am poking at some burger at a fast food joint in the middle of nowhere, typing this out and trying to figure out how my life came to this.
Wow.
There's more. But I feel like this mom is like, this has got to be like the most terrible situation, but she's probably looking at this dog as like the last piece of her son.
Like a living thing. Like a living piece of her son.
This is literally her son now. Like this is all she has of him.
Yeah. I feel like now, well, no parent should ever have to bury a child. And I learned that from watching my grandparents as when my dad passed away. And obviously no one's really thinking straight right now. You think I need to get every single thing that belonged to my son, loved one, whatever family member. You want every single piece of them. You want to get it all. And I'm loving the dad right now. Like he seems like a really wonderful and understanding person, especially having his son pass away so recently. He is like really thinking about other people, especially her. And I just think the mom is in such a horrible situation. Mind is so scrambled. You don't really know what to do with your emotions. You don't even know how you're really feeling at that point.
Sure.
Oh, you're just reeling.
With time, I think that she's going to be able to see the dog, and they're going to be able to make something work out with sharing or visiting or seeing the family more. I love the idea of her and the family staying connected. That's a great thing to do in a loss like this. But I just think I feel terrible for this girl. But when it comes to like the parents, clearly the mom is in such a horrible position right now. As painful as it is, give it a little bit of time. Take care of yourself as much as you can. It's gonna suck. It sucks for everyone, no matter what's going on. Like the person you loved has passed away, unexpectedly also. But it's just with time comes healing, and I think that eventually it's gonna be able to work out. And this is just gonna be a really shitty, rough patch, and it's really gonna suck because for her it feels like it's two losses. It's two losses.
It is. It really is.
And I just hope she stays in touch with the dad and with the family and checks in on the mom. And then eventually, as time passes, healing comes, I think she's going to be able to see this dog a little bit more, and things are going to get a little bit better. It's
Right.
just right now, it flat out, it's not good, and it sucks.
As hard as that would be, I mean, because it'd be tough not to feel bitter about it.
Oh my God.
Right? So it's just like-
Absolutely. It's oh my God, impossible. Of course you're going to have those feelings like that belongs to me. I want that. But she's doing the right thing, as hard as it is. She is
Yep.
doing the right thing.
Yeah.
It's not easy. And I don't blame her. Her feelings are absolutely 1,000% valid.
Yeah, because things would blow up pretty quick.
I would be so
Yeah.
mad at the world.
Yeah.
I would lose it, but there's a part 2.
Okay.
This is a long one. Sorry.
Updates.
Yeah. So first, the embarrassing confession. I became a little bitch for a while. In all defense, it was really easy to do. I woke up with my alarm at 5 a.m, stared at the ceiling for a bit, and just thought, oh, I don't need to take dog for a run. I guess I don't have to get up. Then it was, I don't really need to go on my evening walk, hike, lake trip, camping trip, etc., as there really isn't any point. No boyfriend, no dog, because it's cold, and I'm a little bitch. So I sat in my apartment, going to work, eating takeout, watching shitty shows, and sleeping. I lost most of my motivation to do anything. I just wallowed in bed a lot and trying to sleep as much as I could because sleeping was the only way I didn't feel so alone. Luckily, I have 1 or 2 good friends who give a shit. So I woke up one morning to a banging on my door. Friends walked in all businesslike and simply said, "You're moving." I stood there in my sweatpants because I gained about 15 pounds in 1 month. My hair in knots, all confused and bedraggled and honestly pretty stinky. She told me one of our acquaintances needed a new roommate for January, and she thought we would get along well. I protested and was terrified of losing the one place that was home to me, boyfriend and dog. It took almost a month to convince me to leave my apartment. It was one of the worst moments of my life when I began packing things up, throwing other things away. Almost worse than when boyfriend died or when I lost dog. I can't really explain why I felt so horrible and angry at this particular moment. I am sure a therapist could tell me. Oh yeah, I stopped going to grief counseling too. So I guess not. Long story short, let's just say I wasn't very happy, but I packed up my things and moved over to my roommate's apartment. On New Year's Eve, I bought a bottle of wine, sat in our old stripped bare apartment, and all dramatically said goodbye to my old life or something. It was a movie moment, really. Oh, and I got copiously drunk and cried for hours, with snot running down my face. But mainly, I think it was a touching scene. But I think things are starting to look up. Roommate and I get along great. She owns a lab mix, and the big goofy guy loves cuddling. And it is nice to come to a home that isn't just filled with old t-shirts and abandoned dog toys. I'm still a sad panda, but at least I graduated from little bitch. I take showers now. Now for the good news. Last week, I ended up visiting dog. She was ecstatic and so excited she might have peed herself a little bit. She looks healthy and happy, and that is what really counts. But the best thing is what dog did for my boyfriend's father. Dad lost a good 30 pounds since I last saw him when they came to take dog away from me. He was so excited to tell me all the things he had been doing with dog. He took up bicycling and then running to try to keep dog well exercised. He and mom take walks with her in the evening and began hiking on weekends. Dad sheepishly mentioned that mom lost some weight as well. And they are both aiming to be healthier this year. You could tell Dad just doted on dog. He said that since she was a herding dog, he began taking her to a local farm that trains sheep dogs. But then it turned out she was scared of sheep. So that was that. So now they are trying out agility because he read that border collies are good at that. I realized he must have read all the resources I gave him on border collies and tried his best to keep dog happy. He excitedly showed me dog's therapy dog certification and talked about how they go to a local hospital once a week now. It was honestly a weird moment for me. It was great to see that dog was doing well and is happy. I was also touched by Dad's devotion to dog and also how much he had changed since boyfriend's accident. He is healthier, happier, and enthusiastic. Even though mom was the one who wanted dog, I could tell that dog was really Dad's pup now. Dog adored Dad back. I don't know if it is because Dad and boyfriend were so similar in looks and personality, but dog truly loved Dad. And that made me, well, mad. I'm only human, really. I know dog still loves me. She proved that with her overly enthusiastic greeting, but it was like another check on the list of things that aren't mine anymore. I told Dad that I am ecstatic that everyone is doing well and how great dog looked. He beamed with pride, telling me it was the least he could do for the dog his son loved so much. We finished lunch, hugged, and then cried And then I cried the entire way I drove home. So that is where I am now. I'm starting a new life and still struggling to take regularly scheduled showers. Dog is doing well with her new home, and she really has brought new hope into Dad and Mom's lives. I know I made a great decision for sending Dog to live with Mom and Dad. You guys were right. I'm strong and young enough, and it helps that I have wonderful friends that I think I won't sleep or stink away to death. And Dog has gone off to do amazing things and bring back happiness to parents who lost a son. These stories really fuck me up. Dog is truly an awesome animal, and I will continue to miss her every day, but at least I know she is happy. So I think everything is going to be all right.
I'm tearing up with you. Don't worry.
Wow.
It's just so sad, but yet,
This person's an amazing writer.
I know.
Amazing writer,
Wow.
amazing person. And although I know that every single person in that family, everyone would do anything to, take back what happened.
Yeah.
But sometimes these losses, good things can come
True.
from them. And everything happens for a reason. I believe that if you're not, life would have definitely been beautiful if that son continued on living.
Yeah.
But when your cycle completes and when it's your time to go, you go, and whatever's supposed to happen happens. And people have their own paths, and they're, protected and on their way. And it just, I'm just so blown away how everything just happened. The dad and mom are now healthier.
Yeah.
And they're taking care of themselves. And although for her, the dog isn't exactly hers anymore, but in all these changes, she's, had to move and everything. And it sucks in that moment, but slowly just a lot of these things are going to turn into blessings, and she's going to be okay with her new normal, and a lot of good things are going to come from it. And I'm just glad that, healing is coming for everyone involved in this story. And it's wild, as dark as it seemed when the dog was taken from her. Things are falling into place, and things are starting to make sense. And I just think with time, everyone is going to be okay.
Yeah. You got to feel good at least that the parents took it so seriously, all the time and all the materials she
Absolutely.
provided.
Yeah.
Like that at least would be inspiring to see.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like every detail. Oh, we've done this. They
We did the
changed.
herding.
They completely changed their lifestyle. Yes, in the essence of what happened, but also to accommodate the dog and really take seriously what their son and what she wanted.
Absolutely. There's so much respect between all of them. It's so amazing.
It is. It's also like you just commend her for. I would be wallowing in a pit of self-misery. I would.
Yeah.
And thank God for her friends, like everything she went through, but thank God for the people that got her up, got her a roommate.
You're moving.
You're moving.
Oh, yeah.
No questions asked. You're moving. And just her and her self-awareness, and just hearing how she described this, where she the dog clearly loved the dad, and she's like, you know what? I was mad. And it's she's going through it. She's not only going through the stages of grief for the boyfriend, the partner she lost, but for the dog. And
True.
yes, the dog is happy, but it's not hers.
Yep.
And so to have that ability to be the bigger person and realize I know I made the right choice, as much as it fucking sucks.
Right.
So amazing, amazing, amazing person, and
Yeah.
wish her the best.
Absolutely.
I mean, to be that in touch with yourself and your emotions, and I mean, it's pretty, I don't think that's super common.
No, it's not. Especially after a big loss like this.
Right. Exactly.